purpose of this presentation is to acquaint you with the materials used in filling and obturating the root canal. More precisely, to identify Gutta Percha, the forms of it that we use in our clinic, and show you how to modify those forms of Gutta Percha in case the need arises. I have here in front of me the Gutta Percha forms that are readily available for your use. Right here they start with hygienic Gutta Percha, the pure, unmodified material. Next to it you'll see some pieces of the material that have been cut up and we use for a temporary stopping or the double seal. I did modify one of these into the shape of a cone. You can see it laying right there. Here are the master cones, and there are two of them laying in front of the package. And then over on the right we see the accessory cones. Now, the master cones and the accessory Gutta Percha cones are a little different in that one of them has a little more, the accessory cones have a little more zinc oxide powder in them and also a little more filler. They're finer and they tend to be a little more fragile than the master cones. So we don't care to use these in the master for obturating the master cone space. We like to use the master cones for that and that only. Right here I have two glass slabs, some alcohol, gauze sponges, and before you ever try to modify Gutta Percha, be sure the glass slabs are nice and clean, particularly the parts that will be contacting the Gutta Percha. Anything that is used to modify Gutta Percha needs to be clean and free of oil. Now the first little experiment I'm going to do is show you how to modify a master cone. I have two master cones. These are size 90s that I picked up out of this little package right here. I'm going to cut them off with my scissor. I have a canal that takes a little larger cone, so I'm just going to cut these back a little bit. I've cut them both. Now we'll modify one of them. I'm going to do that so that you can compare. Just to modify the apical end of the cone, I'll hold it lightly in my fingers and I'll warm up this flat spatula over my little alcohol torch here. And then I don't want it red hot, I just want it warm enough to melt. Now I'm holding lightly with my left hand and coming in with the spatula, just touching it lightly, and I'm actually moving the cone with the spatula. You can very quickly modify the end of that. Do it very nicely. Now I'll lay it back on a slab so you can compare the two cones, you see how they're modified. You can see the length has changed. And the end is tapered. Now you can do that with any size cone. You can do it very easily. The key things to watch are that you hold the cone lightly with your left hand and use a warm spatula, flat, and just support it. And if your slab is clean, you can rotate the end of the instrument and begin to taper it. Now my spatula is not cool. It's just barely warm, and you can see I have rounded that end just a little bit too. One a little more definite than the other. That's all there is to it to modify master cones in case you need a little different shape or you cut them back to a little different size. I'll just lay those right there. The next thing I'd like to demonstrate is how to roll a master cone. Again, I'm going to clean the slab a little bit, be sure I don't have any oil on it. We'll just take a piece of our temporary stopping. Now, this does not have a lot of filler in it, so it'll be easier to manipulate. Warm up your glick plugger. Don't burn the Gutta Percha, and then just roll it into a little ball. Last thing we do, we have everything ready. I got my glass slabs ready. I'm going to warm it up one more time. Drop it on the slab, and then just roll it, and that one just went flat. I'll just have to repeat that again. I'll take another piece here. It happens every time I do this, you know. If Everybody's watching. Okay, here we go. I've taken just a little bigger piece of material here. Might be a good idea just to warm the slab just lightly here. Here we go. There's a nice master cone. Maybe I can make one just a little tiny bit smaller. The idea is to get it very soft, very pliable, on a clean slab. Maybe warm the Here we are, another nice cone. Again, this can be taken off and warmed up and reshaped again and again and again. Now, here are two master cones. Suppose I have master cones and I'd like to modify them. I'm gonna wipe my slab off with a little alcohol again. Make sure they're clean. I'll just set these two cones right here on the table. Wipe that one off. Take my two cones, warm them a little bit, and fold them together. Now there's a little rosin in this material, so this doesn't form as nice a master cone as a pure Gutta Percha. A little harder to roll. Just see if I can find the temperature that it wants to form at. Warm up the slab just a little. No, I'm not going to be able to roll that one. Try it one more time. But it's the rosin in these master cones that causes it to be just a little bit more difficult to shape. So if you're ever really in trouble and you need another cone and haven't got it, take a piece of pure Gutta Percha. Here we go. Nope, didn't quite make it. There we are. The easiest bet for making another master cone, of course, will be the unadulterated pure Gutta Percha. Now, Gutta Percha, as you realize, is a rubber in nature. The only difference between it and pure rubber, as you understand it from making tires and so forth, is that this is not an amorphous material. It is about 60% granular, crystalline. So it does have different properties than rubber. Technically, it's a polyisopyrene, and it does have different properties than rubber. As it gets older, as it ages, it gets very brittle and can break. So you do need to keep it stored in a refrigerator when it's not being used for long periods of time, and not exposed to light. It causes it to harden and break down and lose its properties. Thank you.